Welcome to this video on personal learning networks. In this video, we'll talk about what personal learning networks are, how you can make use of them, and how to use social media to start building yours. According to Wikipedia, the definition of social media is that it's the use of web-based and mobile technologies to turn communication into interactive dialogue. Social media isn't for sharing information one-directional, but rather for conversation. Also from Wikipedia, personal learning networks are informal learning networks which consist of the people a learner interacts with and derives knowledge from in a personal learning environment. This is as opposed to a traditional classroom. Now, not using social media won't end the world, but real change can happen by using it. Organizers during the Arab Spring made use of social media to organize protests in places like Egypt. Kathy Cassidy is a grade 1 teacher in Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan, and she's used social media with her students for a number of years. They have blogs, they make use of Skype, and other forms of social media to connect with their parents and other relatives, as well as classrooms all around the world. The red dots on this map indicate where people are reading Kathy's blog. So as you can see, people all over the world are tuning in to see what's happening in Kathy's class, including in places like Egypt. When students like Kathy's grow up, they may be in your classroom. They've grown up using blogs and Twitter and wikis and Skype as part of their learning process. What are they going to use in your classroom? How are you already making use of tools like blogs to enhance your own teaching and learning? This is a quote from David Wiley from Brigham Young University. And it's true, whatever we've learned in a classroom, if we didn't turn around and share it with our students, there would be no education. So who or what do you learn from? Well, many of us are still learning from books, but also television and radio and newspapers. We learn from our coworkers. We even learn from strangers who we might stop and ask for directions from. This graphic is from Alec Koros at the University of Regina, and it shows a typical teacher network, which is one-directional or may include conversations with colleagues or members of their family or local community. This graphic is also from Alec, and it shows the network teacher. You can see on here that there's much more two-directional things happening, whether it's with blogs or wikis or video conferencing, and the traditional single-directional things are still happening. We still refer to curriculum documents. We're still learning from popular media. Right now, what does your network look like? Does it look more like the typical teacher network, or are you a much more networked teacher? So what's the point of having a personal learning network? So much information is out there, and sometimes it seems like it really is coming at us like water out of a fire hose. Having a personal learning network can take that fire hose and turn it into something much more manageable, like a garden hose. The question I usually get is, yeah, but where do I even start? In this class, we're going to learn about the tools that I'm going to talk about for building your own personal learning network. The one that I usually start with is the RSS reader. RSS brings updates to things like blogs and wikis to you instead of you going to check to see if there's something new on a blog. It's sort of like getting a magazine subscription instead of going to the bookstore to constantly check if a new edition has come out of a magazine. There's blogs. You might have a blog to use for a class site, you might have a blog for a department or program, or you might have one for your own reflective practice or for sharing resources. Social bookmarking tools like Digo and Delicious allow you to bookmark things and take them with you wherever you go. So instead of them being in your browser on a single computer, they're on a website, and you can save them either as public or private to share them with your colleagues or students. You can create groups so that a number of people can share bookmarks together. And we're going to talk more about that later in the class. Skype can be really useful for connecting with people outside of your classroom. This can mean through chat, talk, or video conferencing. It allows you to hold virtual office hours or bring in guest speakers who might not be able to make it to your classroom. You can connect with other educators, even other classes, to connect your students. Now, Twitter isn't just about sharing what you have for lunch, but it's also a great place to find resources and share ideas. You can follow other people, you can contribute to the conversation, you can ask questions, offer your own solutions, and find some great resources. There are a lot of people in higher education on Twitter doing just this. You can use Google Docs for collaborating with people, whether they're across the room for you or in another country. Really, with the use of Google Docs, students no longer have an excuse that they couldn't get together to do a group project, because they can do it whether they're working at the same time or in the same location or not. It allows for that kind of collaboration. Now, there are some things that you need to keep in mind when using social media for building your personal learning network or within your classroom. Sometimes things change. Ning, for example, is an online site that allows people to create either public or private communities. And a lot of teachers have made use for this, but a few years ago they started to charge, and that created an issue. Bloglines was an RSS reader. You would go in, log into the site. Bloglines was a popular RSS reader. You would simply log into the website and you could see what your latest RSS feeds were. But then the announcement came that they were shutting down under competition from Google Reader, which has also shut down since then. Things do change, and you have to keep these in mind. And this is actually where your PLN can be very useful because it will help you adapt. When Ning started to charge, teachers went online, especially through Twitter, and were asking each other, what are my options? Where can I go from here? Facebook, it's great for staying in touch, but there's a lot of privacy issues. And students don't necessarily want you in their space. So this is a lot to take in, but it's important to remember, don't be frightened. We've all been through this, and your network is there for you. Start small. Start with something like an RSS reader or your own blog. And then spread your wings. Try new things and see what's going on out there. There's a lot to learn. Other than a couple of images that were mine, all of the images in this presentation came through Creative Commons. We're going to talk more about Creative Commons later in this class, but you should check it out. It's a great way to find some images for you to use in your presentations. What I'd like you to do now is take a few minutes to quickly do a rough sketch of your own personal learning network. After that, have a look at it. Is it more one-way than two-way? What can you do to make it even better? And what value do you see in your students having their own personal learning networks? Well, that's it for now. Thanks for joining me.